community. Hi, friends. I am so glad you're here. As I mentioned, we are going to be using different props today throughout class. So they are optional. You don't have to have them to do class, but if you have something nearby like it, then you may want to grab it now. A strap. So an alternative for this could be a tie or a scarf or a pair of stretchy yoga pants. A block. An alternative could be a book or maybe a saucepan. Something's about this high and sturdy for you to put your hands on. Having a blanket or a towel and a firm pillow, maybe something from the couch or something else you might have in your residence, wherever you are. So we are going to go ahead and get started on our backs. We're going to have the strap nearby. So going ahead and finding your way onto your back, bringing your heels in towards your glutes and then take them as wide as the mat, if not a little bit wider. And then let the knees gently knock towards each other. So they don't necessarily have to touch, but you're letting a internal rotation happen with your hip flexors and your legs, allowing the lower back to release and spread out on the floor. And take a few moments to settle in and start to notice how you might adjust this posture so that it feels really good in the body. And so maybe that's by moving your feet in a different direction. Maybe you want them to be straight, or maybe you want the soles of the feet together and the knees apart. Notice where it feels most supportive for the hands to rest. So it might be beside the body with the palms gently turned up towards the sky, fingers softening. Or maybe one hand on your heart and the other hand somewhere on the torso that feels comforting. Or maybe somewhere else. Just starting to explore and see how you can best support yourself in your practice today. And notice if it feels better for your eyes to be open or closed. Softening the space between the eyes and behind the eyes, either way. And starting this practice of deep listening. This openness and curiosity about how your body and your heart and your mind are in this moment. And noticing when this habit of judgment shows up, thinking that it should be a different way. And allow it to be here. This too is part of your experience. But open up an opportunity to start to watch and observe, even that. Observing our thoughts, observing our emotions, and just getting curious, what's here right now? Allowing yourself to be just as you are. Allowing everything to be just as it is. And listening to whatever shows up. Starting to notice sensation in the body. Noticing if you have a preference for it to be here, not be here. Observing, letting it be, and watching. Noticing where the points of the body are making contact with the floor, and the sensation where you feel where the two connect. Noticing the edges of your skin and where the air gently meets and caresses the skin. And start to notice the sensation of the breath as the body breathes itself. You don't need to change anything or fix anything or make your breath different. Very normal to think we need to change the breath as soon as we start paying attention to it. So watch if that habit to change comes up and see if you can allow the natural flow of the breath to move in and out of the body. Notice without any effort, your body knows exactly what to do. Notice the natural flow of the breath, how it gently expands the belly, the ribs, and the chest. No effort needed. Following the flow of the breath through the nostrils, the walls of the throat, into the abdomen, the chest. And then reversing the flow on the exhale. Everything just as it is, the body breathing itself. This practice of deep listening. Listening to all the messengers that show up in your practice today, sensations, breath, emotions, thoughts, allowing everything to be here and letting all of these inform your practice, letting you know what's most going to support you today. What we need every day is different. And so today, this morning, checking in, what is it that you can do to best support yourself in your practice this morning? Bringing your attention to the space around your heart. Seeing if some kind of intention or heartfelt longing starts to come to the surface. What was it that brought you to your mat this morning? What is it that your heart, your body, your mind is longing for? And how might you move through your practice so that you can honor this intention? Supporting yourself in whatever way feels best this morning. We'll take a deep inhale here, breathe into the belly, the ribs, the chest. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. Blink the eyes open, inhale, belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, sigh it out. One more breath, breathe in a way that feels so good in your body. Filling all the way up and heavy exhale, sigh it out. Reach the arms up overhead, take a big stretch with the arms and let them rest beside the ears, or maybe bend your elbows at 90-degree angles and cactus arms. And let the knees start to come apart from each other. So the feet are still as wide as the mat, if not a little bit wider. Arms are up overhead, and we're going to start to let the knees gently tick-tock left and right. So do this in a way that feels really good on the lower back, the inner thighs, the outer hips, allowing your body to move in a way that feels supportive, something that feels really good, like a massage. And the next time the knees drop over to the left, let them stay there. We're going to take a big stretch with our right hands up overhead. So we're reaching through our right hand, and our right hip is gently drawing away from the hand, breathing in between the ribs on the right side of the body. And releasing the right arm down, knees come up through center, drop over to the right this time, and we'll take that stretch on the left side of the body. So lengthening through the left side of the body, gently reaching the left hip away from the left hand. Next inhale, coming back up to center. And we're going to draw the knees back towards the shoulders and reach behind the thighs. So maybe gently pointing and flexing your feet and rolling the ankles around. And you might start to bring a little bit of movement here, a massage for the lower back, making circles. You might gently rock your head from side to side, finding some movement that feels supportive and good in the body, whatever that might be. And we'll bring our feet hip-width distance apart on the mat. Hands are going to come down onto the mat and start to take a couple of pelvic tilts on the ground. So you're going to take the front of your hips and move it towards your lower rib cage, pressing the lower back down into the ground, drawing the navel back towards the spine. And then soften, everything releases, maybe a curve comes to the lower back, and then again, draw the navel back towards the spine, front of the hips gently coming up towards the rib cage. And release, and I'm going to turn this over to you. So start moving in a way that feels good in your body. Engaging all the muscles in the abdomen, the obliques, the sides, the front and back as you draw back, and then softening everything as your abdomen releases towards the sky. Next time you tuck the tailbone underneath, stay here, abdomen's drawing back, navel back towards the spine, and we're going to press into our hands and press into our heels and start to bring the hips off the ground and the tailbones reaching towards our heels. So trying to keep the front of the hips in line with the rib cage rather than letting the ribs stick out like that. Hands are pressing into the earth. And you might stay here, or maybe you gently lift your left rib cage and roll your left arm under. Maybe you lift your right rib cage and roll your right arm under. It's completely optional. We're pressing into the palms and the triceps, either way. Press down into your heels and move them away from the body. Remembering to tuck the tailbone, front of the hips moving towards the rib cage. And now release the glutes and let your heels pressing down and forward help to stabilize and lift the hips. From here, the heels are pressing down and forward. Now energetically pull the feet away from each other, starting to turn on some of the muscles in the outer hips. And come back to your breath. So notice how the breath is changing as we're making a different shape. As we start putting effort in the body and building some heat and energy, how can you smooth your breath out to feel more supported? One more inhale here, maybe 3 to 4 seconds on the way in. And as you exhale, slowly release the shoulders out from underneath if they were there, and one vertebra at a time, let the spine release back down to the ground. The slower, the better. And as the hips come back down and release, we'll take the feet wide again. Let the knees tick-tock left and right. A couple times each side, something that feels good. Knees back up towards the sky, hips come back, hip width distance apart. We're going to cross our right ankle over our left knee and flex the right foot. So the toes are pulling back towards the knee to keep it safe. And we're going to hang out here for a couple of breaths. So this may feel like a lot of sensation and you're good and you want to hang out here. Another variation would be to bring your hands behind your left thigh and start to draw the left knee back towards the left shoulder. So that might be something you're interested in too. We want to avoid the shoulders and the head curling up to grab the legs. So this is a great place to welcome in a strap or whatever prop you might have in place of it behind the left thigh so that your triceps, your shoulders, your head can gently release on the ground, and you might rock the head left and right, releasing the neck and the shoulders and breathing into whatever parts of your body are feeling a lot of sensation right now. On your next exhale, release the left leg down. You might put whatever prop you have out to the side. We're going to move to the other side. So your right leg is on the ground now, and your left leg is going to cross. Toes pulling back towards the knee. And you might hang out here, or maybe take one of those other variations. So mobility in our hips is different on each side. You want to check in every time we move from side to side and see what variation is going to support you on that side of the body. So depending on where you're going, you might be drawing that right knee back towards the right shoulder. Keeping in mind that none of this is better than. None of these variations are better than the other. So notice if there's a part of you that's feeling like things should be different, that this shape should look a different way, or that if you're doing one variation, that it's not as good as the other. And see if you can let that go and just honor whatever feels right in your body this morning. Next exhale, releasing that right foot down. Moving whatever props you might have out to the side. And we're going to have our feet hip width distance apart. Taking your right leg up towards the sky, flexing the toes back towards the knee. Your left knee's still bent. And you might reach your hands behind your right thigh. Or maybe you take a strap around the ball of the foot and let your arms release down on the ground and breathe into the back of your right leg. So the knee can stay bent here. We're looking at starting to wake up the hamstrings, so there's no need to have the legs straight. Whatever point or whatever shape your body feels most supported in your lower back. And coming back to the breath, Noticing if you're clenching really hard with your hands, however you're holding, and if there's a way that you could release some of the tension in your hands, release some of the tension in your jaw, finding some space between the back of the teeth. Slow and steady. And from here, we're going to keep our right hip on the ground and start to cross the right foot over the midline of the body, breathing into the outer hip and outer glute. So right hip still on the ground, foot's crossing across the midline. Maybe you have a strap or something holding the foot, or maybe your hands still holding your leg, whatever it is. Notice if any tension showing up in the neck and the face and the shoulders, and see if you can release a little bit. And then bringing the foot back up through center, releasing it down towards the ground. We'll move to the other side, either reaching behind your thigh or getting a strap around the ball of the foot. Right knee's bent on the ground now. And noticing how this side is different. You might feel tension in a different part of the body here. You might want a different variation here. Just checking in and noticing how you can best support yourself here. Softening the skin of the face and the space between the eyes and behind the eyes. Letting your gaze soften and turning your attention towards your breath here. How can you breathe in a way that feels so good in your body and supports you in all the places that would like your attention and some care right now? After the next round of breath, we'll start to move this left foot across the midline of the body. So your left hip is staying down and you're moving the left foot across the midline and breathing into the outer hip, outer glutes here. Letting the back continue to be grounded on the earth. One more deep breath here, 3 or 4 seconds on the inhale. And exhale, let the foot come back up. And we're going to move the strap out to the side, straightening your left leg. Bring your right leg in towards your chest and then out towards the side. And then bringing it across, we're still keeping our right hip on the ground. And start to make big circles with your leg and your thigh. So just noticing what size of that circle feels right for you this morning, breathing into the hips and the lower back. And then reversing the direction that you're going in, whatever that is. Noticing if the size of the circle changes or if it stays the same. We'll straighten our right leg, bring the left knee in towards the chest and do the same. So first, bring it out towards the side, keeping that right hip on the ground. And keeping your left hip on the ground, take it across, breathing into the outer hip, outer glute. And starting those circles on this side. Noticing how the mobility in this hip feels different. And reversing the direction. Seeing what you might offer to yourself to make this feel good or supported in your body. And then bringing both knees in towards the chest together this time, welcoming in any rocking or circles, maybe figure eights with the knees, something that feels good on the lower back. And from here, we're gonna find our way into tabletop. So you might rock up and down the spine a few times or roll over to your side, press into your top hands and find your way up into your tabletop position. I like to bring a blanket underneath my knees here because they feel a little tender on the ground, but you are welcome to find whatever spot feels most supported for you. And as you arrive, you're gonna have your hips stacked over your knees and your shoulders stacked over your wrists, and spread the fingers wider than you think you need to. We're going to move through a couple cat-cows. So we're going to do this very slowly. Before we do that, we're going to do a couple of prep movements. So remembering those pelvic tilts we did on the ground, do the same thing here. Draw the navel back towards the spine and let that movement gently bring the hips towards the lower rib cage. And then let the belly soften. And a couple more times here, just in the lower back, navel back towards the spine, tilting the pelvis, hips moving towards the rib cage, and then stopping that. We're going to do a couple of scapula push-ups. movement in the upper back. So we're going to keep the arms straight and draw the shoulder blades together. Chest gently moves forward. And then we're going to push the ground away and pull the shoulder blades apart. And draw the shoulder blades together and push the ground away. So a couple more times here. The only movement is the shoulder blades moving towards each other and away from each other. And coming back to center, we're going to put all of that together. So draw the navel back towards the spine, bring the front of the hips towards the rib cage, and then press the back of the rib cage up. Spread the shoulder blades apart and let the head release down, the chin gently softening towards the collarbone. Spending a couple breaths here in cat, press the ground away with your hands, the tops of your feet, and your navel's drawing back towards the spine, up towards the ceiling. We're going to reverse this. So the head starts to gently lift and our shoulder blades are going to draw together. Let the front of the rib cage drop down and the front of the hips pull away from the front of the rib cage. Gaze comes forward. Try not to crunch in the back of the neck. So keep the back of the neck long. A couple of breaths here. Breathing into the front of the body, softening the skin of the face, and we'll start to move back and forth. So tucking the chin, spreading the shoulder blades apart, back of the rib cage reaches, and front of the hips move towards the front of the rib cage. And reversing that. I'm going to turn this over to you. So moving in a way that feels good in your body. You might keep it really slow like this, or maybe your body's craving to move a little faster. Just noticing what will be most supportive for you and focusing on each vertebra of the spine, moving one at a time, regardless of what pace you're going at. After your next exhale, we're going to come back to center. And we're going to take our hips and move them over to the left. So our shoulders are staying stacked over our wrists. Our hips are moving over to the left. And then we're going to draw our right shoulder towards our right hip. So breathing through the left side of the body. Coming back through to center, we'll move to the other side. So our hips are moving over to the right, breathing into the outer hips here. And we're going to start to draw our left ear towards our left hip. Coming back through the center. We're going to bring our right leg up towards the sky at a 90-degree angle. So your knees bent, your foot is flexed, and notice if your right hip starts to move up towards the ceiling, you want to make sure it's squared off with the ground below. Draw the navel back towards the spine, keep the core engaged here, and we're going to lift the foot up a little bit higher and make big circles with the knee. So it's going to come out to the side and forward towards your elbow, your chest, and then we're going to do a couple more in this direction. So moving at a pace that feels good to you and letting this circle, the size of this circle, be whatever feels most supportive in your body today. Focusing on the hips, and we're going to reverse that. So now we're going to bring the knee towards the chest first and then out towards the arm, towards the side and up. So a couple times in the opposite direction. We store a lot of stress and tension in our hips. So noticing what kind of sensation shows up as you move through. Noticing some heat and energy that might be building in the body as we move through. Letting the right knee come back down. We'll move to the other side, resetting. If your wrists are feeling tender, you might roll them out a little bit. Or maybe you come down onto your forearms if that feels more supportive. And we're going to lift our left leg up at a 90-degree angle. Left hip pointing down at the ground, foot is flexed. Inhale, lift the foot a little bit higher. And then start that circle on this side. Knee comes out to the side and then towards your elbow, your chest, and reverse it. A couple more times on this side. So noticing how this hip feels different. And seeing if there's a way that you can adjust this circle so that it supports you on this side of the body. And reversing directions at the end of your next rotation. So moving in a way that supports this hip, this side of the body and noticing all the heat and energy that's building up in other sides of the body, other parts of the body here. At the end of the next rotation, coming back to center and sitting back in a child's pose. So toes are going to come together, hips are going to move back towards your heels. Notice if it feels better for your knees to be together or apart. You'll have different sensation in the lower back and the hips depending on where you'd like to go. And if it feels really intense on your shins and your ankles here, you might let your hips lift a little bit higher as you lay your torso down towards the ground. Finding a shape that feels most supportive for you. Then let the elbows come back an inch or two towards your torso so that you can let your elbows, your forearms, and your hands rest down on the earth. Let the head release down towards the earth. Maybe gently rock the head left and right, massaging the forehead and releasing the neck if that feels good. And take a moment here to come home to your body and to your breath. A moment to ground and center. Noticing the touch of air on your skin. Points of the body making contact with the surface underneath. And coming back home to your intention, your heartfelt longing. Coming back home to your breath as the body breathes itself. Noticing the effects of these exercises on your body, your mind, your heart. Just getting curious, is anything different than when we started? What's the same? Allowing yourself to be just as you are, completely supported by the surface underneath. Take a deep inhale here, into the back of the torso. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. We're going to reach the arms forward, press into the hands so that the forearms lift up off the ground. Tuck your toes and lift the hips up towards the sky, finding our way into our first down dog class. So as we find our way here, you might move your blanket out to the side if you were using that. Spread the fingers wider than you think you need to. And we're going to take the feet as wide as the mat, if not a little bit wider. And walk the feet in a little bit closer towards the hands, bending into the knees, and press into your hands, press them away from your feet to lengthen your spine, bringing your ears in line with your biceps, broadening across the chest. We're going to bend into our left knee and straighten our right leg, getting a stretch from our right arm all the way through the right hip, breathing into the back of the right leg. We'll move that over to the other side, bending into the right knee, straightening through the left leg. Slow, smooth, steady, something that feels really good in the body. Getting a stretch through the left side of the body, left leg, coming back through to center. And take whatever movement here feels good, or spend some time in stillness, grounding down into the earth. Feeling the parts of the body making contact with the floor here. Lengthening through the spine, through the backs of the legs. Supporting yourself in whatever way feels good here in down dog. And from here, we're going to bring our feet back, hip-width distance apart. Draw the navel back towards the spine. We're going to take our right foot and cross it over to the left side of the mat. And start a crisscross walk to the front of the mat. So now your left foot's gonna come over to the right. You might come up to your fingertips. And slow and steady, moving forward. Eventually finding your way to the front of the mat. Feet are hip-width distance apart. And bending deeply into the knees so that the torso can rest on the thighs. Spending a couple moments here in this forward fold. Releasing in ragdoll. So noticing if it feels better for your hands to rest down towards the earth, or maybe you grab elbows, or maybe your arms go somewhere else that feel really supportive right now. Bending into the knees enough so that you feel some length, the lower back widening, and draw the navel back towards the spine. Maybe you gently rock your head left and right, Breathing into the backs of the legs. Bending more deeply, engage the core, one vertebra at a time. We're going to roll all the way up to standing. Arms go wide, lengthening up on the inhale. Exhale, open up cactus arms, elbows drawing back towards each other, spread the fingers wide. Inhale, rise, right leg rises with you. Micro bend in the left knee, engage the core, draw the navel back towards the spine. And we're gonna bring our hands to heart center and cross our left ankle over our right ankle over our left knee. Sitting back into a chair, finding a figure 4 in your legs. So your right toes are drawing back towards the right knee to keep the knee safe. And sitting back enough so that you can feel steady and supported. Having a gaze on the floor in front of you can help with finding some balance. Draw the navel back towards the spine. Lots of heat and energy moving through the body here. Next inhale, we're going to rise back up, knee goes with you. Bring your hands down, palms facing forward, spread the fingers wide, and we're going to move back into warrior 3 with airplane arms. So letting all the wiggles and the wobbles happen as you move. And let that right foot release onto the ground behind you. Bring your arms up overhead into a high lunge. And take your right heel down onto the mat, opening up into warrior 2. So as you arrive here, find what distance feels supportive in your body. You want to peek down and make sure that you can see your big toe. So if your knee's caving in, engage your left glute and draw your knee out towards the pinky toe. Checking your back foot, make sure the outside edge of the foot's pressing down into the earth. And imagine you're pulling the mat apart with your feet. So spreading the mat wide. Your shoulders are stacked over your hips. Sometimes we'll go forward or backward, so you might want to check in with the torso. Arms are parallel with the ground. Pull your shoulders down away from the ears. Draw them together on the upper back. Spread the fingers wide. Your gaze is at your front middle finger. Soften the jaw, the space between the eyes. Maybe you even close your eyes if that feels safe and supported. Bringing your attention into the body. How is your breath here in this moment? How can you support yourself to let your breath be more smooth, steady, and feel really good in the body, even if there's some challenge here? Letting the breath be rhythmic and even as it flows in and out of the body. One more inhale here, and exhale. And we're going to find our way back, both hands on the front of each foot, and your right heel comes up towards the ceiling. Taking a couple of breaths here. This is a great place to welcome in a block or a prop if you're feeling like you're straining to get to the ground. And these are optional, of course. We're going to release our right knee down, welcoming in a blanket or a towel or whatever might be here. And we're going to shift our weight back over, so our right hip's over our right knee and straightening through our left leg. So this is where those blocks might come in handy, or you might curl the back a little bit to reach down towards the earth. As you're stretching through that left hamstring, keep a micro bend in your knee and let your toes flex back towards your knee to keep everything safe and engaged. And start to draw your left hip back, your right hip forward. Pressing the left heel down into the mat and pulling it energetically back towards your hips. So we're activating the back of that left foot, left leg. Several rounds of breath here. You may notice it feels better to have your back toes tucked or maybe untucked, whatever feels most supportive for you. And you may want to hang out here and stay here, or another variation would be to take your right hand to your left foot and move your left foot up and over in line with your right leg. This is going to get a deeper stretch in the outer left hip. Same idea, your heels pressing down and pulling back towards your hips, and your left hips pulling back, right hips pulling forward. Breathing into the back of the left leg, the outer hip. Noticing all the points where you're feeling tension and letting your inhale come into that place. And your exhale offer some more support wherever it's needed in the body. If your foot is in this variation over to the side, you want to bring it back in line with the left hip. Moving forward, right hand's going to come down onto the mat. You might have a block or let it come to the mat, whatever feels more supportive for you. And we're going to lift our right knee off the ground. Lengthen the spine towards the front of the mat. Draw the navel back towards the spine and twist open towards the left. So as you do this, imagine your right rib cage is reaching towards the left side of the room, and the back of the left rib cage is reaching towards the right side of the room. Gaze comes up to your fingertips if that feels okay on the neck, and you're still drawing your right hip back and your left hip forward. Notice how the breath is changing here, and slowly breathe in and out in a way that feels steady and rhythmic. From here, bringing your hands down to the mat. And we're going to step back into down dog. So spread the fingers wide, and finding your way back into your down dog. Feet can be wide apart like they were before, or maybe they're closer together this time. Notice what feels most supportive for you. You might move any props that are around out of the way if you were using them. Fingers are spread wide, pressing the mat away from the body, letting your ears come in line with the bicep, navel drawing back towards the spine, welcoming in any movement here that feels supportive, or maybe releasing in stillness, letting the feet and the hands ground down into the earth. Soften the skin of the face, the space behind the ears. Noticing the flow of the breath moving in and out of the body. We're slowly going to start that crisscross walk up to the front of the mat, other foot leading. So left foot's going to come over to the right side of the mat. And then the right foot's going to go over towards the left. And smoothing this out in a way that feels supportive in your body, taking as much time as you'd like to get to the front of the mat. When you arrive, feet are hip width distance apart, so that's 2 fists width between the balls of the feet. And then play around with straightening the legs and bending the legs. Noticing how when you straighten the legs, it changes sensation in the lower back, in the backs of the legs. And when you bend them, you have a different sensation. And finding something in between that feels very supportive in your body. What is your body craving right now in this moment? Drawing the navel back towards the spine and up into the rib cage. Slow and steady with the breath. If you've been doing a lot of sitting lately, allowing the backs of the legs to release and help reverse some of that. And then we'll bend into the knees, engage the core, one vertebra at a time, rolling all the way up. The slower the better, like a massage for the spine. Whenever you do arrive, spreading the chest wide, arm circle up, lengthen on the inhale. Exhale, open up cactus arms. Inhale, rise. And as you rise, your left leg is gonna rise with you. Shifting your weight into your right leg, micro bend in the right knee. Engage the core, draw the navel back towards the spine, up into the rib cage. So we're going to cross our left ankle over our right knee this time, finding our way into a figure 4 chair on the other side. So this side is going to be different. It's the balance, the mobility. Notice where it feels best to rest your hands. Notice what depth of the chair you're looking for. Peek down, you want to be able to see the toes on your right foot. Navel's drawing back towards the spine, strong core, tuck the tailbone, front of the hips gently moving towards the rib cage. Breathing into whatever parts of the body want some support and attention right now. Next, inhale, lift the knee, lift the arms, lengthen. Exhale, hands come down, palms facing forward, spread the fingers wide, and we're gonna find our way back into warrior three with airplane arms on the other side. Some balance here, some heat, some energy, and then let the left foot come down, arms come up overhead in your high lunge, and we'll root down through that left ankle and find our way into warrior two on the other side. You stay where you are. I'm going to move slightly so that I'm facing you. So your right knee's gonna be over your right ankle. You're gonna press into the outer edge of that left foot. You wanna make sure you can see your big right toe, so gently engaging the right glute to draw the knee out towards the pinky toe. And energetically, you're drawing your heels away from each other, pressing down into the earth in a way to pull the mat apart. Tuck the tailbone, shoulders stacked over hips. Arms are parallel with the ground, palms facing down. Your shoulders are reaching up towards your ears. Draw them down and together on your upper back. Gaze is at the front middle finger. And as you settle in, start to come back home to your breath. Tapping into the resilience and the strength that is always here in your body, in your heart. Letting that guide you into breathing in a way that feels really steady, supported, standing strong and tall in your warrior. Noticing all the edges of the skin, strength and heat in the body. Deep inhale here, deep exhale. And from here, we're gonna find both hands on either side of your right foot this time. Left heel comes up, coming into a high lunge here. Slow and steady with the breath. And let your left knee come down. Maybe welcoming in that blanket underneath the left side of the body. Straightening through your right leg and noticing how this side feels different than the other side. So you might welcome in your blocks if that feels supportive, either side of the legs, or whatever props you might have nearby, or bending your right knee deep enough so that your arms can feel supported on the ground. Right toes are flexed back towards your right knee. We're pressing the right heel down into the mat and dragging it energetically back towards our hip. Right hips pulling back, left hips pulling forward. Breathing into the neck, into the belly, into the hips. We store so much stress in our hips. So just noticing after all the challenges you've been through in the last month, where might your body be holding on to some of that? And how can you offer some attention and care and allowing? You might stay here, or if you're looking for a deeper stretch in the outer hip, you'll take your right foot over in line with your left knee, drawing the right hip back, right heels pressing down and energetically pulling back towards your hips. Breathing into the outer hip, upper glute, slow and steady with the breath. Noticing how this side might feel different. What you might offer your body to let this feel more steady in the body. What adjustments in your breath or the shape might feel good. Moving your right heel back in line with the right hip. A couple more breaths into the back of the right hamstring. Right hip moving back, left hip moving forward. And slowly bending into your front leg, lifting your right knee up off the ground. We're going to bring our left hand down to the mat or onto a block. Lengthening the spine forward, draw the navel back towards the spine. Start to bring your left rib cage down towards the ground, right rib cage up towards the ceiling. Gaze comes up to your hands. Opening up in your twist. Still drawing your right hip back and your left hip forward. Tapping back into this strength, this resilience, and how your body knows what it needs in every moment. So listening now, how can you adjust this movement, breath, so that you feel steady and supported in this moment? Inhale, next exhale, hand comes down, moving your block out to the side. And we're gonna turn all 10 toes to the left, finding our way into a forward fold. So your heels are gonna be slightly out and your toes just very slightly pigeon-toed. And this is a great place to welcome in that block or something else, bending your knees as much as you would like to feel supported in the back. Letting your hands rest down on the ground. And you might let your chin curling towards your chest. Keeping the spine long for now, breathing into the back of the neck, breathing in between the rib cage. We're going to bend into our left leg, but before we do that, take your toes and turn them slightly out. So we're in more of, so both toes are heading in the direction of the left. We're gonna bend into our left knee, still pressing into the outer edge of that back foot. Take the hands forward, coming into a down dog shape with your upper body. Breathing into the inner thighs. Gently engaging that left glute to draw the left knee out towards the pinky toe, pressing into the outer edge of that right foot. And slowly walking over to the other side. So hands are going to come back underneath your shoulders. Straighten both legs. Left toes slightly move in, right toes slightly move out. And we're going to bend into our right leg. Engaging the right glute so that the knees drawing out towards the right toes and reach the arms forward, coming into a down dog shape with the upper body here. So same as down dog, you're pressing the mat away or the floor away with your hands, lengthening the hips away from the shoulders. Bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders, straighten the right leg, bend, take the right toes back in again, and another few breaths here in your forward fold. Letting the knees bend as much as you would like to feel supported. Let the head release, maybe you nod the head yes or no, and see if there's another place you'd like to put your hands. Maybe they come out in down dog shape here in your upper body. Or maybe you bring your palms towards your lower back, broadening across the shoulders and drawing the elbows back towards each other. Maybe you grab opposite elbows and hang out. Just noticing what variation feels most supportive in your body right now. After your next exhale, releasing the hands back down to the earth. And we'll walk our hands to the front of the mat. Step your front foot towards the back, coming into the last down dog of class. So spread the fingers wide. Welcome in any movement here that'll feel supportive, help you feel more complete in your practice. And when you're ready, letting the knees release down towards the earth. Finding your way into a seat with your legs, with your soles of your feet on the ground. Excuse me, soles of the feet together, knees apart. So I'm going to turn to face you, but you can sit whatever way on your mat feels supportive. And here, start to notice what feels most supportive for you. So you want the spine to be long and tall. And if you feel like your shoulders are curling forward to reach your feet, maybe your hands come next to your hips, so that you can lengthen through the chest, broadening, staying long and tall on the spine. Maybe you cross your wrists and let your hands grab the front of the ankles. Chest is lifting, shoulder blades drawing back together, staying long here. Maybe your hands find somewhere else. Just playing around and noticing which variation feels most supportive for you. Taking a couple breaths here. You might hang out here, or start to draw the chest forward towards the toes. Keeping the back long and tall shoulder blades drawing together. Soften the face and the jaw, space behind the ears. Breathing into whatever parts of the body you would like the most support right now. And slowly coming back up through center. We're going to take our feet wider than our hips and let our knees drop down to the right. Feet are 90-degree angles. So your left ankle's in line with your right knee and your right ankle's in line with your left knee. We're going to start by taking our left hand and reaching back behind us. Right hand's on the ground, getting a long stretch through the left side of the body. And then coming back through to center. Your chest is squared off over your front leg. And start to walk the hands forward, coming forward into this modified pigeon. So you might hang out here with your arms, your hands on the ground, arms straight. Maybe you bend your elbows and let your torso start to release over that front leg. Maybe your forehead comes down to the ground. Remembering none of this is better than. We're just exploring sensation in the body and which one of these variations feels most supportive for us today. Coming back to the sound of your breath flowing in and out of the body. The texture of the breath on the walls of the throat, inside the nostrils, the taste of the breath as it sweetly moves in and out. Walking the hands back up, we'll come through center, engage the core, bringing the knees up in front of you, and then over to the other side. 90-degree angles on both sides here. And we're going to bring our left hand behind us, reaching with our right arm, taking a long stretch through the right side of the body. Coming back through to center, and slowly finding your way into whatever variation feels most supportive for you on this side. Hands can be on the ground, arms straight, or maybe coming down to forearms here. This side of the body is going to be different. So listening and honoring how you can support yourself here in this moment, regardless of what happened on the other side or last time you were practicing. Coming back home to the sweetness of the breath as it flows in and out of the body. How can you make your breath feel so good? What invitation might you offer so that your breath feels nourishing and full and supportive in this moment? Slowly coming back to your hands and walking your hands back. Finding your way back up to center, bringing the soles of the feet hip-width distance apart, lowering down, maybe your hands come behind your thighs or help you down along the way. Bringing the feet hip-width distance apart, let the knees tick-tock left and right. Something that feels good in the lower back, outer hips. And then letting your left leg grow long, drawing the right knee in towards the right chest, drawing it out to the side, breathing into the inside of the hip. And then letting it cross the body. So as you do, maybe your hips gently move a couple of inches over to the right. And let your right knee cross the body. You have the option here to press into both of your elbows to lift your rib cage and gently draw the right side of the rib cage down towards the ground. Maybe your gaze comes over your left shoulder, coming to the left fingertips. You might close your eyes or soften your gaze so that everything around you blurs. And taking a moment to settle in and notice how this shape feels on the side of your body. Inviting in a breath that feels supportive and nourishing, letting your inhales come into whatever parts of the body are feeling tense and tight. Letting your exhales support you in whatever way your body would like right now. Slowly releasing, coming back through to center. Moving to the other side. In your own time, there's no rush to get there. So eventually your right leg will lengthen and you'll draw your left knee back towards your left shoulder, supporting yourself behind the left thigh, drawing the left knee out towards the left side and letting it cross the body, moving into a twist on this side. So hips moving a couple inches over to the left. Maybe you press into the backs of your arms to lift the rib cage and gently draw the left rib cage towards the ground so that that left shoulder is supported on the earth. Gaze comes over the left shoulder, if that feels okay on the neck. Letting the fingers of the left hand curl and soften towards the palm, facing up towards the sky. Letting the right hand soften wherever it is, whether it's on your leg or somewhere else. Noticing where you feel the breath the strongest in the body in this moment. There's no wrong answer for this. Just getting curious. Where does the breath feel the strongest? Nostrils, walls of the throat, belly, ribs, chest. Letting your attention rest on where the breath is feeling the strongest in this moment. And after your next exhale, slowly coming back through to center, taking whatever other movements your body is craving so that your practice feels complete. We'll move towards our final resting posture. This is where I invite you to bring something underneath your knees. So it might be that pillow, or maybe you take your towel and roll it up into a little log. Anytime we elevate our knees, it allows the hip flexors and the lower back to release. And if you have both a pillow and a blanket, you might bring something under your head, or maybe the blanket comes over your body somewhere that feels supportive. A few more breaths here, finding your way into your final resting posture. And allowing yourself to be completely supported by the ground below. Noticing if it feels better for the hands to rest beside the body or on the body. Notice if it feels better for the eyes to be open or closed. And taking a moment to drink in all the sounds going on outside of the room that you're in. Letting these sounds come to you. And then noticing the sounds going on inside the room. Again, letting them gently come to you. Noticing the sound of your breath flowing in and out of the body. Just as it is, nothing to change, nothing to fix. The natural flow of the breath as the body breathes itself. Following this natural flow through the nostrils, the walls of the throat, the abdomen, the chest. And the reverse as it gently releases from the body. And the body breathing itself. Noticing the support of the surface underneath. And arriving here in your body in this moment. Letting everything be just as it is. Noticing the effects of your practice. These exercises that we've done, movement and breathing exercises. Noticing how they affect your body, your mind. How you might feel different than when you started your practice. How you might feel the same. Allowing everything to be just as it is. Noticing sensation in the feet and ankles, not trying to change anything or relax anything, Just noticing sensation as it is in the feet, in the legs, the density of the knees. Sensation in the hips, the floor of the torso. Sensation in the front and the back of the torso, the sides of the torso, and the ceiling of the torso. Sensation in the arms, the density of the elbows and the wrists. Sensation in the front and back of the hands. Sensation in the fingers and the fingertips. And sensation between the fingers. Both hands, arms, and shoulders at the same time, heavy and supported by the surface underneath. Sensation in the neck. The back of the head, the top of the head, the ears, the jaw. Sensation on the skin of the face. Eyebrows, temples, cheekbones. Both eyes at the same time. This radiant sensation. Sensation between the eyes and behind the eyes. Following sensation along the optic nerve, deep inside the head. Descending down to the inner walls of the throat. Descending down to the space around the heart. Inside the rib cage. Inside the belly. Deep inside the hips. Inside the legs. Feet. The whole body as sensation. Deep inside. Surface sensation. Sensation around the body. Allowing everything to be just as it is. Allowing yourself to be just as you are, completely supported by the surface underneath. And coming home to your breath. Following the sweet inhale and exhale as the body breathes itself. Expanding on the inhale. And releasing on the exhale. Beginning to welcome in a satisfying and nourishing breath. Noticing the touch of air on your skin, the support of the surface underneath the body. And take a moment to notice if your body would like to stay here longer. Allowing yourself that gift. If this is what your body and your heart are longing for, as long as you want. And if your body is ready to start moving and Getting on with the rest of the day. Start to invite some gentle movement at the ends of the limb. Slowly blinking the eyes open and close a few times, gently rocking the head left and right, releasing the neck, massaging the back of the head. Inviting in a breath that feels so good in the body, whatever that is. And starting to notice how your body's craving to move as it begins to reawaken. Bringing this movement into your body, whatever feels good right now. Within the next few breaths, rolling over to your favorite side. Maybe your lower arm or a blanket offers a pillow underneath your head. There's no rush to get there. Take all the time you need. Allowing yourself to be fully supported by the surface underneath. Taking a moment to thank yourself for showing up on your mat this morning. Offering yourself this gift of attention and breath and awareness, this deep listening. Whenever you're ready to rise, pressing into your top hand and slowly finding your way up to a comfortable seat. There's no rush to get there, supporting yourself along the way. When you do arrive, taking a big good morning stretch up towards the ceiling. Continue to reawaken the body, so lengthen the spine, the sides of the body, spread the fingers wide. And then let the hands and fingers gently soften together at your heart. Let your gaze rest on your fingertips, shoulders soften down and back, gentle smile on the lips to soften the face. Another moment of gratitude. Thanking your body for how amazing it is, resilient and strong, and everything it does right to support you every day. We'll all close together with one last satisfying breath. Let the next inhale be whatever you want it to be. And on your exhale, let it all go. Thank you all so much for sharing your practice with each other this morning, with me. I'm so grateful for every one of you, your presence, and thanks for showing up. I hope to see you guys all again soon. Bye.